Do you wish that weeding thin lines would look like this instead of like this nightmare? Let me introduce you to the genius concept of reverse weeding, so that you get results like this every time. Hey there, I'm Goldie and I post weekly tips and tricks for your Cricut machine. Comment below what you want to see next. For this video, as in most videos, I'm going to be using my box of basics, which includes my scissors, scraper, weeder, etc. If you want to see exactly what that is in depth, you can check out the video in the corner. We're also going to need vinyl. I have here some StarCraft HD sky blue vinyl, some transfer tape, and all of that, and of course a Cricut machine and a mat. As always, all the products I'm using are going to be linked down below. So here we are in design space, and this is the design that we're going to be cutting. So you can see that these flowers and butterfly are extremely thin with, if we zoom in, just like a ton of tiny little bits inside that we're going to be having to weed out. And the text, the word summer, is also a very thin font, so we can expect some difficulties with weeding this design. So we're going to go ahead and cut this out, and I'm going to go over here and make 2 copies so that we can do one attempt at weeding with a regular weed, and then we can see the difference with this reverse weeding technique. Okay, so there it is, all cut out. Let's separate the 2 that we cut out with the scissors. There's one, there's the other. Now before we go into reverse weeding, we're going to try to weed one normally and see how that goes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick it back down on the mat. I like to do this for some extra stability when weeding delicate designs. And then I'm going to come in with my weeding tool and let's see how this is going to go. Okay, so you can see straight away right here, that little skinny line is just refusing to stay down. And even though we did get it down, it's kind of like stretching, and now the base of that flower is kind of coming up. And the butterfly is getting bent out of shape over here. And we have this one just ripped a little bit. So it can happen, and if you work a bit slower and carefully, then you could probably get it to work. But what I'm going to show you now is just a quicker, easier, less hassle way of doing it. So let's take a piece of transfer tape. And here is what we're going to do. We're going to peel up the transfer tape, and then we're going to stick that on to the entire design. Okay, burnish it really, really well in all directions. And the back as well. Make sure the entire design is stuck onto the transfer tape. And then we're going to peel up the backing paper so that the whole design, including all the excess, is on the transfer tape. And I'm going to bring back the mat, and I'm going to do the same thing as before. I'm going to stick it down onto the mat to give it that extra stability. And then I'm going to come in with my weeding tool and start weeding again. So I'm going to start with the insides of some of the pieces, just because if we do the outsides first, then when we take out the insides it can sometimes distort the thin outlines. But basically what's happening here is that the transfer tape is acting sort of like the backing of HTV, and it's keeping the vinyl stuck to it so that nothing but the piece that we're trying to weed is getting pulled up. So it keeps everything in the exact place where it's supposed to be, and unlike before, we're not having thin lines pulling up. So this technique works really great with any kind of small letters. If you have like a whole paragraph of text, for example, or anything with just thin lines that is very easily stretched and distorted when you're doing regular weeding, then this is the way to go. Okay, I think we're pretty much done with all the insides. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put up the whole backing, and you'll see, let's say, this skinny line that we had last time that pulled straight up. Everything is staying exactly where it belongs. All these super thin outlines are behaving pretty much perfectly. And there we go. Now we can take this off of the mat. And let's just get everything out of the way. If I flip this over, we have a perfect weed, and it's on the transfer tape ready for us to stick whatever we want. And then we just put it on the white so you can see it a bit better. That was a perfect weed. And just to compare it with this one, again, we probably could have managed like very carefully putting down each skinny piece as it came up, but it would have been nowhere near as perfect as this. So before and after. Now I've got this cute little mini photo album, and I'm going to be taking the decal that we just made and sticking it on here. Now I should have measured this more exactly. You can see the two skinny lines on either end are just too long, but it's not too bad. Let's get scraper and just burnish that on there. But yeah, learn from me, always measure. Use your tape measure that's in your box of basic, and always measure before you cut, because you can make mistakes a lot worse than this one. I'm just gonna have to cut off the ends. Let's peel this off. Perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna snip the ends off. 1, 2. Perfect. There we have it.